Hi, friends. Welcome to my teacher model. Here, I'm going to show you how to describe events using specific details. In order to do this, we have 3 steps. Step 1, describe the setting of an event. A setting is when and where the story takes place. I think a lot of us, when we think of setting, we think, oh yeah, this person's at the beach, this person's at the store. But setting also can also deal with time. So think about like the season. Think about if it's night or day. Little things like that also contribute to the setting. Also, keep in mind there may be several different types of setting. Visualize what you see as you're reading. Step 2, describe what the characters say and do. And then step 3, describe why the event matters. And here are some key questions that you can think of when you're describing. What happens because of the event? What does it change in the story? How does it relate to the main problem? Now, this is a book of poems, and within the book of poems, it is telling a story. So, usually, when we think of beginning, middle, and end, we may be in the middle of the story, but we're focusing on some events on pages 15 and 16. So, that's our main focus. So let's get started. I'm going to start with reading and then we'll jump into the steps. November 29th. I liked those small poems we read today. When they're small like that, you can read a whole bunch in a short time, and then in your head are all the pictures of all the small things from all the small poems. I liked how the kitten leaped in the cat poem and how you could see the long head of the horse in the horse poem. And especially, I liked the dog in the dog poem because that's just how my yellow dog used to lie down with his tongue all limp and his chin between his paws, and how he'd sometimes chomp at a fly and then sleep in his loose skin, just like that poet Miss Valerie Worth says in her small dog poem. December 4th. Why do you want to type up what I wrote about reading the small poems? It's not a poem, is it? I guess you can put it on the board if you want to, but don't put my name on it in case other people think it's not a poem. All right, so now that we've read, let's jump into the steps. Step 1. Where and when does the event take place? How is the setting important to the event? So I'm thinking where. There's no specific location, but likely he's at school because when we read back when we first started the book, we knew that he was like in a writing class of some sort. So we know he's at school. Now, when? I know that the text says November 29th. And we also have something that says December 4th. So we're in that time frame in the fall between winter, November, and December. Based on the journal date on page 15. So based on what we have here, it's on November 29th, between November 29th and December 4th. Now, step 2. I'm going to use Jack's name to find what he says and does on pages 15 and 16. So, like we said before in yesterday's reading thinking steps, we keep seeing him say the word small, 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 small. So, oh, here it is again. Small. He says small 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. He also likes poems about animals. So we saw where we have the kitten, we have the horse, we have the dog. He especially likes the dog in the dog poem because it reminds him of how it reminds him of his yellow dog. So that's what we know about the character so far. Now, step 3, which is the most important. An event is important if it changes the characters or other events, especially in ways that affect the main problem. So, in the beginning, we remember Jack doesn't like poetry. We saw that. He thinks that girls should do it. But here on this page, like, based on this setting, November 29th, Jack starts to like poetry. He changes. He no longer believes writing poems is for girls. Why? Because he's found something that he can write about. Animals. The problem was that, like, readers learn more about Jack's connection to dogs. That's what we learn more. So we learned that he has this huge connection to this yellow dog. He makes this connection from another poet, Mrs. Valerie Worth. So that's describing events. Step 1, I described my setting. I figured my setting was on November 29th. I noticed that the word small repeated. I also noticed how he liked poems about animals. And then the importance, why this event matters. It matters because Jack is starting to change about how he feels about poetry. He no longer believes writing poems is for girls. That's it. 3 easy steps. Describe the setting, describe what the characters say and do, and then describe why that event matters. You're going to continue on with this Nearpod to get ready for your student practice. Bye.